is January 13th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 steps and 12 traditions. Today at the Big Book, we are going to continue. We were a little ahead yesterday, so we're going to read just a small paragraph on page 4 today out of Bill's story. And out of the 12 and 12, we are going to continue our journey through step 2 by reading page 26. And of course, we'll read the 24 hours a day and the daily reflection. So with that, hope you all are doing well this morning, my friends. Life is good over here. Got a giant cup of coffee in my Star Wars mug today because I need it. I was up late last night watching the Flyers game and they won in overtime, so I'll take that. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. All right, so if you recall from yesterday's reading, Bill and Lois, they're having some interesting years here. It sounds like a mixed bag. At first, they were financially successful, but once again, on page 3 and 4, or the top of page 4, we see that Bill's drinking starting to become a problem again. That there were some problems in their marriage, and there were some problems with him drinking, every day. And he's getting into golf and drinking pretty much all day. And the last sentence we read yesterday, the local banker watched me whirl fat checks in and out of his till with amused skepticism. So we're on page 4. We're going to read the first paragraph. Abruptly in October 1929, hell broke loose on the New York Stock Exchange. After one of those days of inferno, I wobbled from a hotel bar to a brokerage office. It was 8 o'clock. 5 hours after the market had closed. The ticker still clattered. I was staring at an inch of tape which bore the inscription XYZ minus 32. It had been 52 that morning. I was finished, and so were many friends. The papers reported men jumping to death from the towers of high finance. That disgusted me. I would not jump. I went back to the bar. My friends had dropped several million since 10 o'clock, so what? Tomorrow was another day. As I drank, the old fierce determination to win came back. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on step 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. So at the end of page 25, it's kind of this hypothetical situation where a sponsee is asking a sponsor a question. Does he have to give up everything that he has understood about a possible higher power before? It says right here, how does he cherish the thought of that man risen so majestically from a single cell in the primordial ooze, is a spearhead of evolution and therefore the only God that his universe knows? Must he renounce all this to save himself? And now we're going to get the sponsor's answer. Page 26. At this juncture, this AA sponsor usually laughs. This, the newcomer thinks, is just about the last straw. This is the beginning of the end. And so it is. The beginning of the end of his old life. And the beginning of his emergence into a new one. His sponsor probably says, take it easy. The hoop you have to jump through is a lot wider than you think. At least I've found it so. So did a friend of mine who was a one-time vice president of the American Atheist Society. But he got through with room to spare. Well, says a newcomer, I know you're telling me the truth. It's no doubt a fact that AA is full of people who once believed as I do. But just how in these circumstances does a fellow take it easy? That's what I want to know. That, agrees the sponsor, is a very good question indeed. I think I can tell you exactly how to relax. You won't have to work at it very hard either. Listen, if you will, to these 3 statements. First, Alcoholics Anonymous does not demand that you believe anything. All of its 12 steps are but suggestions. Second, to get sober and to stay sober, you don't have to swallow all of step 2 right now. Looking back, I find that I took it piecemeal myself. Third, all you really need is a truly open mind. Just resign from the debating society and quit bothering yourself with such deep questions as whether it was the hen or the egg that came first. Again, I say, all you need is the open mind. The sponsor continues. Take, for example, my own case. I had a scientific schooling. Naturally, I respected, venerated, and even worshipped science. As a matter of fact, I still do, all except the worship part. Time after time, my instructors held up to me the basic principle of all scientific progress. Search and research again and again, always with the open mind. When I first looked at AA, my reaction was just like yours. This AA business, I thought, is totally unscientific. This I can't swallow. I simply won't consider such nonsense. "24 hours a day, January 13th. AA thought for the day. When we were drinking, we were living an unnatural life, physically and mentally. We were punishing our bodies by loading them with alcohol. We didn't eat enough, and we ate the wrong things. We didn't get enough sleep or the right kind of rest. We were ruining ourselves physically. We had an obsession, and we couldn't imagine life without alcohol. We kept imagining all kinds of crazy things about ourselves and about other people. We were ruining ourselves mentally. Since I came into AA, am I getting better physically and mentally?" Meditation for the day. I believe that my life is being refined like gold in a crucible. Gold only stays in the crucible until it is refined. I will never despair or be despondent. I now have friends who long for me to conquer my addiction. If I should err or fail, it would cause pain and disappointment to them. I will keep trying to live a better life. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may always call on God's strength, while the gold of my life is being refined. I pray that I may see it through, with God's help. Daily Reflection, January 13th. It doesn't happen overnight. We are not cured of alcoholism. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 85. The most common alcoholic fantasy seems to be, if I just don't drink, everything will be all right. Once the fog cleared for me, I saw for the first time the mess my life had become. I had family, work, financial and legal problems. I was hung up on old religious ideas. There were sides of my character to which I was inclined to stay blind because they easily could have convinced me that I was hopeless and pushed me toward escape again. The Big Book guided me in resolving all my problems. But this didn't happen overnight, and certainly not automatically, with no effort on my part. I need always to recognize God's mercy and blessings that shine through any problem I have to face. Okay, that wraps up today's reading and some great stuff. Man, it's hard to choose one. Real quick, I love the conversation that is between the sponsor and sponsee on page 26, I believe it was. Yes, 26, where the sponsor tells him three things. First, Alcoholics Anonymous does not demand that you believe anything. All of its 12 steps are but suggestions. Second, to get sober and to stay sober, you don't have to swallow all of step 2 right now. Looking back, I find that I took it piecemeal myself. So, if you recall from, I think it was yesterday's reading in the Daily Reflection, the only step that we should try to get 100% correct with 100% effort is the first step. admitting we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. It's really difficult to do all of the 11 remaining steps absolutely 100% perfectly. So I like that they say this right here. You don't have to swallow it all right now. These are perfect ideals that we could work toward, right? And then the third thing he says, third, all you really need to do is have a truly open mind. Just resign from the debating society and quit bothering yourself with such deep questions as whether it was the hen or the egg that came first. Again, I say all you need is the open mind. I know for me, I was a little guilty of maybe overthinking some things. Going, I can't move forward. I don't know if I've done this 100% correct yet. It's okay. Just keep going. Don't stall. Don't get caught up in the details and miss the forest for the trees. That was me. Just keep moving forward. And then a little bit later on, he says it again, right? Again, just keep an open mind. So for me, if something's being repeated, I know when my teachers in school used to repeat something over and over, chances are they would either want me to take those notes or pay attention. And the thing that stands out to me is just keep that open mind. And I was so desperate, I was going to listen to whatever some of these sober people had to say because it was working for them. But they said it too, just keep that open mind. And finally, going back to the daily reflection, what we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. And that is so encouraging to me today. I heard somebody yesterday at a fellowship who I know has at least 30 years of sobriety. He said, honestly, it's just today. All I can worry about is this set of 24 hours that I have and working in. Now, I do like what was said a little later. The big book guided me in resolving all of my problems. See, that's the thing. I thought it was just about not drinking, right? So that was just the beginning. When you put the bottle down, you realize, oh my gosh, I was a tornado roaring through everything. But what's nice is these principles, these suggestions help us to start picking up the debris from our alcoholism, the debris from our selfishness and self-centeredness. But here's the caveat. It didn't happen overnight and certainly not automatically. So it takes time and then it takes effort. It didn't happen overnight and certainly not automatically with no effort on my part. But I love the last line. Yes, it takes effort on our part, right? But this last line says, I need always to recognize God's mercy and blessings that shine through any problem that I have to face. Now, I'll be honest with you, my friends. I've noticed if I have the willingness and the open mind and I start putting forth even just a little bit of effort on something that I feel like my higher power is nudging me to do, I notice that he, my higher power, goes way more than halfway. I've seen it in my life. Honestly, I'm seeing it in this podcast of all things. All I have to do is read these books and talk about my own experience, strength, and hope. And I've seen how my higher power has blessed me through this show. And when I hear from somebody that I have no idea who existed before reach out and say that somehow this show has helped them, that's not me. At least in my eyes, that's my higher power working through this program. And it's helping keep me sober. But I'm in awe and wonder at what he can do. And this is just one example in my life. When I go to a fellowship and look around the room, I see many examples, and it's truly awe-inspiring. But that's enough of my railing for one day, guys. I hope you all have a great one. If you're sober today, you're a miracle, and those who love you are very proud of you, and you're giving them a great gift by being sober. And if you're not sober today, you're a miracle as well, and you are worthy of recovery. And I pray that you would have that open mind and maybe make that effort today to take the first step toward change, whatever that might look like for you. But my friends, if we are given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely hope to see you right back here tomorrow.